Greetings from Team Indian Medical Association. I'm Dr. K.K. Agarwal, Honorary Secretary General, Indian Medical Association and President, Heart Care Foundation of India. Welcome to our weekly show, weekly webcast every Thursday 3 to 4 p.m. and which is being watched by thousands of doctors and the public from across the country on our IMA website, eMedinex's website, and in association with our digital partner, Library. This week we have a subject, important subject. We're going to discuss about ethics because it is on the eve of Doctor's Day, that is 1st of July, which is being celebrated all over the country as Doctor's Day in the memory of Dr. B.C. Roy, whose birthday and death anniversary falls on the same day. He was a Bharat Ratna awardee, the only doctor who received Bharat Ratna, and he was also the Chief Minister of West Bengal. The topic, therefore, we are taking today is medical ethics with some aspects of violence against doctors or medical negligence. And I have an expert team with me, and this will be moderated by me along with my colleague, Dr. V.K. Monga, who is the Dean of IMA College of General Practitioners, who is our co-partner in our webcast. With me is Dr. Arun Gupta. He is the President, Delhi Medical Council, and he is a pediatrician, MBBS and MD. He did it from Riva Medical College, and he is also currently the Secretary of Indian Academy of Pediatric Cardiology section at a national level. Welcome to our show, and with me is Dr. Girish Tyagi, who was with me earlier as Secretary Delhi Medical Association. Now he is a Registrar of Delhi Medical Council. Delhi Medical Council is one of the council of all the state councils of the country, which is very active. If I have to name 5 top working councils, then Delhi Medical Council will be one of them. Being a communication advocator, I always feel we must find out some first. Somebody asked me, everywhere there has to be first. So if they are in the top 5 medical council, they have to be first among the 5, at least in some aspects. And that comes as our ethics, our disciplinary committee, I think is one of the best in the country. Congratulations for disciplinary committee. So Arun, we are talking about Doctor's Day, okay? And of late, if I read Medical Council of India, Code of Ethics, MCI, the first line talks about that I will maintain the honor and dignity of my medical profession. If I read the declaration, it also talks about it that I will devote my services for humanity. So therefore, for me, for any doctor, the medical profession comes the first.
Sure.
And when I go to the chartered accountancy, if I go to lawyers, I don't see them talking against each other in the media or anywhere. But when it comes to medical profession, we do get whistleblowers, so-called whistleblowers, which may not be the true whistleblowers. Say, for example, a doctor wrote a book, and he wrote a book and he came out that doctors are bad. Now that may be his personal experience. You can't come out with interviewing lakhs of people. If you interview, so one day I asked a doctor and who was indulging into commission practices. When I asked him how many percentage of people take commissions, he says 100%. I said, why? He says, only those comes to me who take commissions. So I asked another doctor who was absolutely honest. So I asked him that how many people take commission. He says 0%. I said, why? He says, nobody comes to me. I don't go to anybody. So bad profession is a relative term. It cannot be quantified, and most of the time people misquote. Our profession is getting a defame because the councils allow us to lose stock in the society, in the social media, and in the newspaper. What's your views?
My point of view is that if we keep on indulging these things, we are harming ourselves more than anybody else. Now, these things have been increasing day by day. I would say the last decade has been increasing more, and particularly in Delhi or the big cities, there's the commercialization of the medical establishment. I would say like that. Now, there's a lot of competition, and competition was always there. It's not that like today's competition, but if we maintain a healthy relation between doctors and professionals, I think it goes long way in protecting all of us and protecting the dignity of the profession as a whole. Now what happens if you see in Delhi, and there's a sea change in medical profession last decade or so, now this medical profession is totally gone in the hands of corporates, I would say that. Now this is probably the only profession which is now being controlled by non-medicals rather than medicals. Now we are kind of puppets to those people who have big money, big industrialist house, and doctors are being hired and fired at their will. Now, one of the factors for this is that we are weak because we keep on criticizing each other fairly or unfairly. Now that is really bad, and I would urge all my colleagues that please do not do those things. And we talk factually. They are most welcome. They're black sheep in our profession. We are not there to protect them. Come with facts, come with proofs. But loose talk here and saying that I am the honest one, that everybody else is not honest. It's not good for profession, because ultimately it is a profession and all of us get defamed by this.
So I'll ask in the way. So will the council protect me if a corporate house forces me to do something wrong? I mean, normally you take complaints against the doctors. If I read the Medical Council constitution, it talks about one of the role of the council is to protect the interests of the doctors. Will you protect a doctor if he comes forward and say that this corporate sector has hired me? Now they are hiring me on the ground that I am not producing the required results.
Absolutely, and actually we are very serious about this, and we are very concerned about it. And in a way, I am connected to Delhi government as well. So we are taking this issue very seriously, because my colleagues, they come to me because in some hospitals they fix the targets. Unless you achieve the target, they can just simply fire you. Now to achieve those targets, at times they are forced to do certain things which are not required professionally. So these things absolutely are maligning the profession and giving a bad name to the profession is really bad. We are very serious. Delhi Medical Council is very serious about it, and if anything comes to our notice, certainly we will take action, definitely.
Girish, do in the last, I mean, I have worked with you for over 2 terms, that is almost 11 years. I was a member of the council, and you have been working before that. When we suppose 100 complaints comes to the council, out of them, majority of them are negligence. How many of them are actually on the ethics part?
On the ethics part, I think you can say 10 to 20% are.
So most of them are on the negligence part. Now, Arun, I want to ask one thing. As I was reading about this retirement age of doctors, the issue which is going on, and I started studying about the issue. Then I saw a finance statement.
Okay.
A finance ministry paper came to me, and the paper was how to calculate the need of doctors in a government setup.
Okay.
So that financial statement paper, they said they want to calculate the number of doctors required in a hospital depending upon the OPD and the inpatients, and the OPD load was 5 minutes per patient.
Okay.
So they says if there are, if you require 20 patients to be seen in 1 hour, 12 patients to be seen in 1 hour, then you require 1 doctor. So per hour OPD divided by 12, number of doctors required in the OPD.
Sure.
That surprised me. Because when they wrote, the finance ministry says that we calculate the need of doctors giving 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, same thing should be true in the private sector also.
Sure.
Because in GPs also are overloaded with work. So in 5 minutes, I'm supposed to wash my hand twice. That means before touching the patient, after touching the patient. Then I'm supposed to analyze his 50 pages. Nobody comes with a summary. So I'm supposed to scan through his previous papers, examine him, take a history, examine him, write investigations, put my treatment, put my registration number in a government setup, because I have to write it with my hand as per the MCI, and then do a counseling, and that counseling must talk about drug counseling, food counseling, sex counseling, other counseling, vaccination counseling, and not do a mistake. How can it be? How can I not do a mistake if in 5 minutes I'm supposed to do something?
Dr. Agarwal, I actually totally agree with you. The problem is that what is the balance? I think, because I haven't seen the report, but if I would be in that position,
There is only one line written there.
I would have thought like this, because just couple of days back I happened to one of the government hospitals in Delhi, and just visiting the hospital, and I came across a dermatologist there. He said ki we are 2 dermatologists, one is on the leave, and my OPD is for 4 hours. That comes to 40 minutes, and I had seen 320 patients. Like he had to see because his OPD was 4 hours, and after that 4 hours he had to do some investigation, other things, and that 320 patients you cannot refuse them. Now he himself said, how can I justify it? Now I totally agree with the love. Supposing ideally see a patient in any branch, I really think the 5 minutes is not sufficient. But if we compare to the current situation of hospitals, you go any government hospitals, let us not talk about 5 minutes or 4 minutes. I think doctors don't get even 1 minute to see the patient because of load.
So mistakes will happen.
Yeah,
Mistakes will happen.
mistakes will happen.
So
Certainly.
therefore, all our experts,
Yeah.
all our experts who come,
Not only mistakes happen, that when the patient goes out of your room, it's not happy.
can't be.
It's not happy.
He can't be.
Our purpose is not to just write a medicine, to make him comfortable, make him happy, make him more secure, more comfortable system.
Why I'm asking this question is that it's the duty of all of us, the professionals, to create awareness among the public that we, the doctors, are overstressed, overburdened. We are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to make
Absolutely.
mistakes.
In the
Mistake does not mean in this situation. Mistake will not mean negligence.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Like, suppose if you work in ideal condition, ideal circumstances, then you can probably be held responsible for certain things. Now, if you have to see a patient in 1 minute and you have to justify everything right from treatment, how is it possible? Now, either you have, the government has to balance it properly.
Now, Giresh will watch with me. In how many percent cases when the complaints come from medical negligence, how many cases the problem is of communication?
I think more than 90%.
That in 5 minutes, how can you communicate?
Because problem is communication. Communication with the
in
doctor.
5 minutes, how can I communicate? If I have only 5 minutes, how can I communicate?
And it is not only the communication with the doctor, with the patient. It is communication, doctor with the nurse, communication with the.
That is the intention. I'm talking about.
Yeah, communication is the.
So something need to be done at that angle.
Actually, I just tell you one of my incidences. In early stage of my practice, I used to do charitable OPD in one of the hospitals. And in a pediatric OPD, a village fellow comes to me, the child is in lab and some pain abdomen, something. I examined the patient because the charitable OPD is a huge rush. I still remember that patient. I properly examined him. I told him certain medicines, and my diagnosis was right. I could make out what is the problem. But once he went out, like he just stood at the road door. I said, what happened? Why are you not going? He said कि सर मैं बहुत दूर से चल कर गया, 2 बस बदल करके आया, पर मजा नहीं आया दिखा के आपको. And I felt so bad. Actually, I felt so bad. That was my duty to like counsel him. He said कि 2 बस बदल करके आया, 2 घंटे खराब किए, आपने 2 मिनट देखा. I was justified professionally because I wrote the right medicine. Right now, it was not justified probably as a human. I should have counseled that fellow. Then I called him again, I talked to him, but I felt I still remember that incident 10 years later. So we have to do something about it. We should get sufficient time to at least those who want to work
we, all of
honestly.
us at a private practice should it should be compulsory for us to hire a MSW, medical social worker, who spend 15 minutes before the patient comes to us. Because they are available at a cheaper cost.
So that would be ideal, but in private setup, whatever, because it's a competitive field. If I don't satisfy my patient,
No. Then they will, because before coming to me, they spend 15 minutes with the counselor. The counselor comes and briefs you.
Okay.
Your time is saved. But then patient says, I've been heard. Otherwise, when he spends 2 minutes, he says, I've not been heard at all.
The one thing is about accountability as well. Like in private sector, we are totally accountable. If my patient is not satisfied, he won't come to me again. So maybe I stretch my clinic for 1 hour, 2 hours more and see those patients. But
I'll give you another example. See, today we talk about radiation history. Radiation history is that I need to get my CT scan done at a center with minimum radiation. That means there are different types of CT scans available. Low radiation CT scan, high radiation CT scan, medium radiation CT scan. Older the CT scan machine, more will be the radiation. And the faster the CT scan, less will be the CT scan. And now we have, which gives you a complete CT abdomen equivalent to 60 X-rays, and you also have a CT scan which is equivalent to 300 X-rays.
okay.
So if I send a person to a specific lab, that you go to this lab because they have the lowest radiation, unfortunately charges are the same in every lab, because there is no system in our country to control that. The economics is such that even the person who is having a older CT scan machine is charging the same.
I do the
So how do why my profession is getting blamed that every doctor who is sending to a specific lab, कोई वहाँ पे कोई गड़बड़ है.
So that is
So
a
I
real-
can't. Therefore, I'm only putting down.
I
is-
got it on. It's a real catch-22, I would say, Satyam. A problem that comes with all of us. Now, if there could be mushrooming of labs in every area, and I have a confidence in certain labs. No, but the public perception is like that every lab gives commission to doctors. Now, if I specify, say, go to that lab or X, Y, Z lab, so obviously they might think so. But other hand, we cannot totally deny this fact also. Like, you know, the CT scan, MRI.
No, I'm only trying to put down. I'm discussing the purpose. I'm discussing with the council and being a past council member. I'm only trying to put down is that the association which we had, and the council which you had, can we come out with certain joint statements, joint issues for the awareness of the public, talking about the facts. We don't want to talk about what's wrong going on. We want to talk about it, what's good work going on and what are the facts. One of the fact is that CT scan machines, you must have a radiation history, and CT scan machines obviously which have a less radiation are more safer. People are not aware about it.
I really don't know how we can make laws about it.
Not law,
Obviously,
awareness.
awareness can be created, but one thing is that if your patient gets confidence in you, suppose, you need to have confidence in the patient. If he has a confidence in you, he has some degree of respect about your character or something. So at times you can say go to X or Y, Z. I don't know. But if that all depends how much confidence your patient has.
I'll give you another example.
In that case, we can provide options to the patient. We will explain to him that such and such lab and such and this is the positive thing which I am referring, and he can explore other things, and he will not be ask you or made you liable for that.
So therefore then we need to write down advise CT scan this center or any other center which gives you the lowest radiation.
Okay.
And you are just
Then
asking that
if you are aware, that at least you can, like this is one example, you can say go to the Falana lab, this has this machine which is the lesser radiation than the other one.
or you can go to any lab.
Or any equivalent.
CD walas don't announce, make it public also.
They have to.
That they
The
register
time is
them.
all over the world now.
Job.
Radiation is becoming compulsory. You need to disclose that
You need to-
if I send a person for a CT scan, they need to expose what is the equivalence of X-rays they have done. They're supposed to.
And the language will become, as Dr. K.K. Roy said, you have to be get accredited with that.
Absolutely.
accreditation for that.
You can have that is a good suggestion. We can have kind of accreditations or labeling or standardization. Then we can say this A, B, C, D.
Another issue I'm
any
bringing
of
up
the
is which is coming up and again. I want to take a couple of minutes before I discuss that subject, and that is generic drugs. Okay. The confusion comes with the language of the Medical Council of India Code of Ethics. They don't talk about generic drugs. They talk about generic names of the drugs. That as far as possible, doctors should write generic names of the drugs. Generic name of the drug means chemical name. It is not a generic drug. In India, there are three types of drugs. Generic brand, like Crocin, Digen, Ocid is a generic brand. Generic trade, Omipad is generic trade. And third is generic omeprazole. Same Dr. Reddy's lab will have all the three available. Dr. Reddy's lab will have Omeas as a generic brand. Generic trade is Omipad or Omipaz, and then they will also have a omeprazole available. The generic drug with generic will be available for a bulk supply, like for a GP, for dispensing, for hospitals, for trade, so that it's like a bulk. That may be costing 10 paisa, for example. I'm just giving an example. That may be 10 paisa or 50 paisa or 60 paisa one tablet, and generic. Then they will make two types of drugs. Generic brand, which is promoted through doctors. So therefore that brand is costly, because that is only promoted through doctors, conferences, education, they sponsor educations, ads in various doctors' magazines. But there is also a generic trade. And that is an unknown brand of the same company, which is sold to the chemist at 400-500% margin. Their MRP will be the same as that of a Omeas, but the margin to the chemist may be very high, up to 1,000 times.
Okay.
And this is supposed to be promoted by chemists,
Chemists.
substituted by chemists.
Mhm.
So what happens is when you write a drug, your brand, the chemist will say this brand is not available, but a similar brand is available of the same company. Your answer would be fine. He will call you up and say this company's another brand is available. You say as long as the company is the same, it's okay. But in one way, the margin to the chemist is 400, 500, 600%. So if Medical Council of India, whether central or state, forces me only to write omeprazole and let the chemist decide what to write, he will never give a branded medicine. He will give only a trade generic medicine where he has a profit. If he has a profit of 400% and if he gives you 10% discount, you feel happy. Actually, he is cheating the person. So therefore, either we should come out with a scheme, either we should say from the council that we should write same company cheapest medicine, but then that cheapest medicine margin, instead of going to the chemist, should go to the person. If the margin is not going to the person, then we are in a problem. So what are your suggestions for that?
That is a good idea, and I think one of the biggest problem is not with the doctors or something. Now this is the chemists. Now chemists actually they do all sorts of unfair trade these days. Substituting medicine, substandard medicine, and the biggest thing is prescribing medicine without any prescriptions. There are so many things to be done at those levels, and unfortunately, Medical Council has probably limited scope in this. And if these things come to us, where government or any other organizations want to make a rule about it, certainly we'll come across and put our point of view.
One more point I want to discuss is that Medical Council of India Code of Ethics talks about how to refer to a specialist.
Okay.
And they clearly say when you refer to a specialist, you have two jobs. First job is you need to make a summary.
Okay.
This is somebody shall be made to be given for a referral. That means if a patient comes to me and he says, I want to consult Dr. Arun Gupta, I am a GP, then I am supposed to make a summary for you.
Okay.
Then you are supposed to write back to me. The second requirement, specialist is supposed to write back to me his findings as a letter of thanks. And third, that letter comes back to me, I need to interpret. Then before interpretation, I may need to call you. What are you doing? So there are three. Consultant is getting his fee. I have two jobs to perform: make a summary and understand your findings, then explain it to the patient. Who pays for my fee? Because people, if I charge it from the patient says you are greedy. If I charge from the patient says you are greedy. If you pay me, they say this is a cut. But I am only asking is who pays for my consultancy? I have a right. I am not supposed to give free summary.
I think it's more of an ethical issue rather
Yes,
than
ethical issue, absolutely.
I think, from my point of view, like taking apart from referral, it won't be really good idea. But as a consultant, suppose as a pediatrician, the patient comes to me, I examine the patient, I talk to the patient, and then I refer the patient to some other doctor, so maybe ophthalmologist, then I always charge my consultation fees. Consultation doesn't mean
No,
to write
consultation is
medicine.
okay. Summary, because summary means I need, say consultation is 2
Summary-
minutes. Summary I may have to see is 50 pages, spend 15 minutes.
Summary, sir, then can be very subjective also. Subjective can be three or four line also. It doesn't mean be
I'm
valid.
only trying to say, if some doctor starts charging for making a summary, will you consider it as unethical or ethical? That's my simple question.
It is a part of your consultation fees.
No, can't be.
No, no.
My consultation is 5 minutes. Summary takes half an hour.
One thing is that if the patient asks you to refer to a particular doctor,
No, MCI says any doctor if you refer, you need to write a summary. You can't refer a patient without a
Sir, I
summary.
think that would be an
Because-
extreme case to
because-
make a summary of half an hour. We make a summary of 2 or 3 minutes, okay. Why to make it half an hour?
because you are seeing the patient.
It won't be practical, not practical as well.
Because you are seeing the patient. You are getting consultation for that. And for referring the patient, if you
If I refer, it's okay. But I'm talking about MCI says make a summary.
But it doesn't say you make a summary of half an hour. You can make a summary.
Okay.
Summary
Because
means-
as on today, it has to be a part of your consultation.
I think
yes,
so.
and somebody means that to whomsoever you are referring the patient, he should understand from the summary that what is the provisional diagnosis or for which
At times we do call also for you see.
The MCI says I'm supposed to keep my record of indoor patients for 3 years.
Okay.
It doesn't talk about outdoor.
Yeah.
But there are many high court judgments which has not been challenged.
Mhm.
They say even outdoor it is applicable. What is our stand? Because most of us don't keep records of our
Because
patients.
I totally agree with you, because indoor there is a clear cut guideline, outdoor there is no clear cut guideline.
But there are a couple of high court judgments, and they have said nothing doing, indoor or outdoor, it is applicable.
I'm not really aware of that fact, but then how long? To outdoor to
Same thing, same thing.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years for this, 7 years for income tax, and
As
10 years
far
for
as,
the medical legal.
As far as like council is concerned, there is no law such as that they have to keep outdoor patients.
Because it is not binding, but for the betterment of the practitioner.
We can't.
It's
It's possible in 5 minutes to maintain a
No,
record.
no, some of the doctors are maintaining just put a current paper before that, or you are giving consultation on the computer and the online consultation is given. Then of course
It really-
it is on
it
the
really won't be-
As on today, the stand of the council is this is not mandatory.
Yeah.
As far as council is.
Preferable, fine.
Yes.
And moreover, one thing, because at Dr. Arun Gupta and the council, we have decided we are coming out with our code of ethics for the Delhi Medical Council members. And because the Medical Council of India ethics regulation which are there from the 2002 are very old, and there are something has to be done, as you said about the consultation part and all, because these things have to be taken care of. And we at Delhi Medical Council will be drafting our own code of ethics, not with the, will be as per the MC Act, but we will rectify all those points, and then of course we'll come out with the code of ethics and we'll submit to the Delhi government for approval. And
The new Clinical Establishment Act, Rules 2014, under the section 9, it talks about A, B, C, D, E, F rules. One of the rule it talks about, which we are challenging at IMA, that this is not fair. What they are saying is standard treatment guidelines will be made by the central government or by the state. If they start, say today they have made certain standard treatment guidelines. If you go to the Ministry of Health website, they are 9 years old, 8 years old, and still there are gaps. There is no way a government can make standard treatment guidelines and update them every 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, but patient will come. When I was in ethics committee of NCI, I got a complaint when he said he quoted that standard treatment guidelines. He says doctor has not followed them. The complaint was, though we rejected, but doctor had to come from all over from south to defend himself. What are the views? Because don't you feel that standard treatment guidelines
So,
is not the job of?
sir, I totally agree with you. So, sir, first of all, about Clinical Establishment Act, this is yet to be implemented in Delhi, and we are really working on this for last 1 year. They have, apart from this, they have 4 or 5 other objections as well. So we are a high-level committee. I'm part of that committee. We are looking into every thread and every aspect of this. Now, as far as the standard treatment guideline is concerned, I totally agree. This is a job of professionals. Professionals, highly specialized. And Delhi, first the constitution will be made, act will be made, and then the part 2 rules will be made. I'm not saying that everything is finalized yet, but here I think we will give all the making the protocol standard guidelines to the professional body themselves. They can just make a broader guidelines with a lot of flexibility, individual opinion, individual flexibility, and then let the professional body update them from time to time. Why government should intervene there?
because at the as you told about the central government of India, these standard treatment guidelines must have been made by the doctors. But of course, as Dr. Arun told, but it has to be after 6 months or maybe whatever time duration.
We will
Second, of
give
course.
to the professional bodies, and
But it
we
has
will
to be-
link that side to that, and let them keep on updating.
It has to be made by the professional bodies.
Government has no business in this, deciding what to write, what
But
not.
the rule says government. So we are
So
fighting.
first for
We are fighting now. They are writing association with
But
us.
for as if Delhi is concerned, we haven't adopted CE as is it yet. We are making our own set of guidelines, own set of rules. We'll look into each and every
I'll take
aspect.
another way around.
Okay.
Another way is that today, as a doctor,
Okay.
you say doctors have to be accountable. No problem. I am accountable. I'm ready to be accountable.
Sure.
In 5 minutes, I'm not supposed to make mistakes. I'm ready for that. But why? The patient has a right to go to simultaneously the consumer court, to the state medical council, to the police. If it is a government, then human rights, and then all the special laws, PCP, NDT, MKP, all. If I'm going to be governed by multiple laws, I'm in a problem. Why can't all of us, who are well-wishers of the council, we decide in the council that yes, there is no negligence, or this is a clear-cut case of compensation, we refer it to the consumer. This is a clear-cut case of criminal negligence, we refer it to the police. This is a clear-cut case of a misconduct, we take action ourselves, suspend him for 2 months. Why can't we all sit together, pursue the government to give us a single window regulation? As on today, so that means it should become compulsory that consumer cases will not take, they will only take those cases to decide the amount of compensation referred by the state council.
Actually, this should be done. Now, we have seen in medical council there are certain cases where the complainant has lost 2 complaints. One is the Delhi Medical School, other the consumer forum. So simultaneously, both cases are running there. And this is not fair at all. Consumer forum, ideal situation would be that all the cases come to council, because council is a body of experts, and though they know about the medical science more than anybody else. Once they decide whether it's negligence or judgment of error or compensation, then it then automatically goes to the other agencies where they can decide about the quantum of punishment or whatever. It should be the ideal. Absolutely.
Generally, the consumer court decide, not on the judges that don't decide. They refer the case to maybe to a medical committee, maybe to a council, or maybe to a ordinary institute of medical science or any other expert committee. So the case are and the consumer level also decided by the medical people. It is not that only the judges or the non-medical people.
Still I would say because council.
I'm only saying is that if I have to be screened, simultaneously the case is going on in the consumer and in the state medical council, they have their experts, you have their experts, and if suppose that both the experts' reports differ,
And that happens. So
there has to be one committee. No?
Yeah, exactly. Even the consumer forum should refer those cases to the council, because council is a constitutional body which
So
is
therefore,
made for this
the
purpose
IMA
only.
and all the councils should
Exactly.
together should give a representation.
Yes.
There can't be 2 bodies.
They can't select this set of people and to judge a case.
Absolutely, there should be only
When the
one.
constitutional, when the council is constituted by as per act, and this is their job, they're expert people who are trained in this fact. So all the case should be referred to council rather than sundry here and there.
So a couple of things before we open out. But now I'll reverse it back to you and listen from you people your experiences of few cases so that you can start giving guidance that this is the case which came and this is the lesson we have learned. I want to make my doctors know about a couple of things. One is pardon, because the MCI Act 6.8, that MCI Act 8 point something, it talks about the council may, it's not shall. That if there is a misconduct, if there is a negligence, then it uses the word may.
Okay.
It doesn't talk about shall take cognizance of that and take action. The very fact there is may, that means there will be situations where the council can pardon also.
May or may not get.
Pardon also.
Sure.
May means pardon.
Okay.
Complaint is there, they have noted that there is something wrong, and when you say, even after that if you say may, it means there are situations of pardon. So how do we decide in which cases we pardon the person? I'm not talking about warning, I'm not talking about censure. The word warning, censure comes in 6.8.1 in the doctor-farmer relationship. There the word is used censure. Warning is used in 6.81 and 6.82, where they talk about pardon or warning or suspension.
Okay.
So in which situations we should pardon the person?
I think when we discuss.
Have you ever pardoned anybody?
No, because
After a mistake, you have said, okay, we give you one more chance.
because
Without warning.
Because at least the doctor should
Apologize.
it should come from the doctor side.
Yes. Obviously, it has to be,
Because it has not come to a Delhi Medical Council in the discipline committee also as yet. If the case comes to us, then of course we will.
Because we never thought of this midline. We always thought either you are guilty or not guilty. If you are guilty, you have to go this way, or if you are not guilty, you go that way. Exactly.
Because at council,
This is the point of
we
point.
have pardoned. In council,
Now
we-
pardon.
council-
Suppose somebody makes a complaint against the doctor, right? Now, by your investigations, you come out like he has done some mistakes. Now which mistake to be like taken in that context where we can pardon, we cannot pardon. First,
I'll give you examples.
secondly, just let me complete. And secondly, it comes to complainant also,
Yes.
whether he agrees to pardon or not.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example of 2005. a doctor complained about a non-availability of an ambulance service and disbehavior of the doctor on duty of one of the hospital in South Delhi.
The patient complaints.
The patient was a former DGHS,
Okay.
some of the post of DGHS in the Mandala. And she said that I'm disturbed.
Okay.
So I said, what do you want? I only want them to apologize.
Okay.
If they apologize, I'm willing, if you pardon them, I don't mind, but they have to apologize, yes, they had a mistake.
Okay.
The hospital apologized and the matter got resolved.
Okay.
There was no action taken on the hospital, though there was a mistake with that. Probably that what the council means about pardon.
Well, even in food, I would like to ask something. Recently, we had a case. Suppose somebody made a complaint against a doctor, right? Now we examined that case in executive committee, and we found some prima facie evidence against the doctor. We refer the case to disciplinary committee. Now, before that case comes to disciplinary committee, the complainant was also a doctor, and both sat together, both talked together, and the complaint comes to us, and he and she says that I want to withdraw my complaint.
Should allow it.
He has
The Medical Council of India may allow that.
Yes. So, it's like same
But
thing.
that's a withdrawal, that's not a
And
pardon.
withdrawal,
I know.
pardon would be the sentence is the same.
There is also issue in that. Suppose I made a complaint against a doctor.
You may or may not.
No,
I mean,
I'm telling, because it is not necessarily if there is a gross negligence, and we presume that there is some malified intention between the complainant as well as the doctor. There is some taking of money because of money factor or because of pressure factor. He is withdrawing the complaint, then we might not.
Say in the
agree
court,
to
in the
that.
high court, all compromises, compounding of cases occurs, and everybody knows compounding is by giving money.
No. But Delhi Medical Council will not be a via media for
No.
this
If
type
they
of
withdraw,
settlement.
if they withdraw, no, not only settlement, if they withdraw, see, there is a Supreme Court judgment where they have very given clear-cut directions to all the cases, including the first judicial bodies, that if a patient wants to compromise, that we should encourage referring them to an arbitrator. We don't take responsibility. We say, okay, we appoint this arbitrator. If you
I totally agree because it's very difficult to prove that what happened behind the curtains. You know,
In the
and what
same
to
way-
do.
But
indulge
it is very
those
difficult because
Maybe. I know.
you made a complaint. We sent a notice. Once I sent a notice to that concerned hospital or doctor, and then doctor approaches that complainant to withdraw the complaint, and in lieu of the money is involved, then of course, and there is a gross. If something is there that
most of the time, what will happen is the patient says that I recall one patient in 2005. The patients were 80-year-old male. His testes were removed. On the plea that it is a cancer, it came out to be TB.
Okay.
The lady came, she filed, and she wanted a mediation. I mediated on behalf of the association. I called both the parties. So I said she admitted the mistake. Okay, she admitted the mistake.
Sure.
And when she admitted the mistake, she said, I have spent 25,000 rupees. So I want my money back. Okay, I'll pardon the doctor. So I told the doctor that you pay 50,000 right away. He said, you have done a mistake. She's only asking 25, you pay 50. She was very happy. The doctor was very happy. That Jan Chupi, इसके साथ में the matter got compromised there and then. There will be situations.
Situations like this.
There will be situations where to error is human. To error is human. It's an error. It's an error. And in an error, only thing you need is a compensation.
I totally take the Dr. Tyagir's view. If there's something hanky-panky might be going on, but
That's in case to
but
case
how,
case to case basis, yeah.
case to case, but how do you prove it? And we
What about
when we are so much burdened about the cases,
What about warning?
what is
What do you mean by warning?
warning, sir? Like suppose if at times the situation where you think the kind what you said judgment of error or negligence is not that big.
That cannot be warning. Judgment of error is not negligence. Error of judgment is not negligence.
Maybe some mild case of negligence where
Because I was speaking to a couple of retired.
the only problem is the medical science that every times 2 plus 2 doesn't make 4. So every case is so different, every circumstance is so different. At times when we sit 8 people and in council we sit 16 to 20 people together, we talk about all the aspects together. At times we feel the under circumstances, what on prima facie or superficial looks very something negligence, it may not be, it may be just a kind of human situation.
I-
And that case warning you can go on
Another party can take it to the court.
Dr.
They
K.
can say that there has been a warning this year, so.
like you have different quantum of punishment. So one you can say the first step of the punishment, you can say
Dr. K, there are only 3 things which are Delhi Medical Council, as per our act, we can One is the doctor. One is warning. Then one is
No,
name
pardon
removal
also,
for a
pardon also may. What is, in GMC also they say it may.
name removal for a particular period and permanent name removal. Permanent name removal we have not done, and because it is a gross negligence. Then of course.
No,
but
I'm only putting my views.
it is from the case to case basis.
My view is
I totally agree with
warning basically we put down in a place where he is entitled for compensation.
the
If a person in a
complainant.
consumer court, if it would have gone, in your warning situation, he would have got a compensation.
Hey, warning means something wrong was
Yes.
there. I'm not
Deficiency of
saying,
service.
yes,
Deficiency of
absolutely.
service.
We are not exonerating him. I am
Deficiency
saying
of
that something was there.
Deficiency of service.
Yes.
If the same case would have gone to consumer court, he would have been fined 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crores.
Okay.
But he would not have got a warning
Okay.
because this is a deficiency of service. Deficiency of service is my fundamental right. Error is human. It is my fundamental right. By getting a warning, I will never get to good standing, medical good standing, whatever certificate you get, certificate of good standing. So it is more like a criminal punishment, that much more punishment than
Hey,
a fine.
it is much milder than remove your name also.
Same thing.
You can say,
Same thing.
you can say,
if you remove it for 1 week or don't remove, it has the same implication on my biodata.
Of course, even if we are removing the name for 1 week, that means for 1 week he will not be practicing. But at his burning, he can practice. And first of all, then
you
read
can
about
say
the-
that this is the mildest form. It is
That-
part
that-
of unless he's
I'm only trying to debate.
I understand your point.
Remember, till I was sitting there, I was a judge. I am not an association, so I'm a lawyer.
Sure.
So I'm only debating for the benefit of my medical profession. I'm only trying to say when you have an option for pardon, censure and warning. Censure is bigger warning, harsh warning.
Yes.
Judge को बोलते
I
हैं,
know,
a harsher type of a warning. So I'm only trying to pursue both of you is, at least in some cases, if you find that he is a fit case for compensation, refer him for a compensation, but pardon him as far as that there is no medical negligence, so that his career doesn't get. So I'll give you an example. If there is a warning to a person like me or to you in the practice, it will become a front page news. Our 90 years, our 30 years, 50 years
I
practice.
suppose if we refer any doctor to a consumer forum for compensation, unless
Can be. You have in your if you read your
hey, let me complete.
if you read
No.
your constitution, you have powers to
No,
compensation.
I understand that. Point is that if he is guilty, only then I can refer to them. No?
Warning is guilty.
So it is
No,
the
no,
same
no.
thing. It is
No.
the same thing.
Warning is
Suppose,
guilty.
warning.
The person who is a perfect case for compensation, why
If-
should I give him warning?
Doctor, okay,
Hey, if the paid
warning is
even the compensation comes when you have done something wrong.
Yes. we are
So
not
it is something
denying.
wrong.
But that's no warning. Compensation will occur because if there is a warning for every case for which I am indemnity insured, I have an indemnity insurance that the government allows me to take
If
mistakes.
warning says you have done something wrong, it can be a media news. So says so is the
No,
compensation.
but you are not. No, compensation is not a.
Doctor,
In compensation, you don't give. If a consumer court has fined me 5 lakhs, you don't put my good standing certificate into a jeopardy.
But consumer forum give you
No, no.
compensation only if they find some
Fine.
different services, right?
No, we are not denying that. Deficiency of service is my right. It's going to occur. Deficiency of service is going to happen. Because that's what indemnity insurance. Government allows me an insurance.
But it is
But
the
as-
right. It is the right of the complainant to go to the consumer court. But we will not refer the case to the consumer court for that. And as you told about the warning, told about the warning
As
that
far as constitution is concerned, Delhi Medical Council can give the compensation as well.
Yes, 100%. But
So
the
if
question-
we start doing that, there's no need to
we
refer
have
to
given
compensation.
compensations.
Yes,
we have in the
can
past.
do
If
it.
you read the first 5 years and when
I read the
Dr.
constitution.
Harish Grover was there.
Compensation can be awarded by BMC as well.
Yes, it is written. It is written that there is a word written that they may award compensation or suspend the license. If you read the,
Both, yes, I understand.
there are discrepancies.
Compensation, yes.
There are discrepancies with that, but then there are only two. One is yours, and second is Himachal Pradesh. The constitution of Himachal Pradesh also allows
Compensation.
compensation. And there is a case where 50,000 compensation in Harish Grover time was given to the patient.
in the compulsion there is a legal issue also.
I know. I said
So
there are
how
loopholes.
to implement that?
I'm not
And first of all,
denying
if
that.
we are
I'm not
compensating,
How will you find out the quantum?
quantum
Quantum
plus
has
plus
to be-
more how can we stop the complainant to go to the say we have asked him to compensate, doctor to compensate, but how can we ensure that he will not go to the criminal court?
Then I think good idea would be then we can have our own set of people who can arbitrate between patient and.
I'm only trying to say is that the Medical Association and Indian Medical Association is willing to work as an arbitrator.
Sure.
Or we have a grievance cell now in every state.
I think it's a good idea. Suppose
Dr. King, when you are the president, unfortunately I was the secretary, we have a couple of cases. We the cases were solved
successfully.
and litigation was avoided.
Why not? Why not both parties sit together with an arbitrator and let them decide?
Let them decide on their own, but don't use the why medium the council because you settle it.
No. Council is not involved into it. Council is only permitting that if they say we want to, say for example in a high court, if you have a case, the high court would say, okay, we allow you, we give you 4 weeks time,
Mediation and
you do a mediation, we can help you in finding a mediator because in a high court there is a mediation cell, you can go and apply, they can put you into a lawyer, and you come back in 4 weeks that, and after 4 weeks if you say our compromise has taken place, except in criminal cases, because court very clearly says that in the rape case, this case, that non-compoundable cases,
you cannot withdraw.
You cannot withdraw. In a rape case, you cannot withdraw. But in a civil disputes, they do allow. So, for example, if the patient is only asking about that they have overbilled me, let them compromise if they can.
Yeah, these type of cases can be settled.
I'm only trying
can
to.
be like this.
More of one thing.
Okay, now let's come back. I want, how much time do we have? We have only 10 minutes left. So let's have 10, 5 each. Give us some examples of your tenure that avoidable mistakes in the doctors. If they would have done this, they could have avoided the punishment.
Okay, before that, I think some people are grumbling that you don't allow advocate in the disciplinary system, committee. But in some states that is allowed.
I think our Delhi Medical Council is working very fine. There's no need actually. They are an expert body and the disciplinary committee has 3 non-medical persons, also who are not doctors. One of them is a lawyer also. An eminent citizen is there, the MLA is there. They all 3 represent public. So that is working very well.
Because we are not allowing the lawyers in the decision committee because once the lawyers are allowed, then I don't think that the cases will be settled very easily.
I don't want to go into the
controversy
controversy because
but we are not allowed.
my views are different. I don't want to go into the controversy. Let's have 5 examples.
But like suppose if we come to what should be done to like avoid these problems, first hand. I think the first line always comes to communication. Communication and empathy, I would say. I go give my own example of how bad I felt about like that father. If you communicate properly, you are more empathic to them. I think that was the first line that will go a long way. Secondly,
जो सोचो वो बोलो,
जो बोलो
वो करो, जो करो वो लिखो, जो लिखो वो डॉक्यूमेंट करो और जो डॉक्यूमेंट करो उसको प्रिजर्व करो.
सब बता दिया आपने सारा.
Next.
लिखना बहुत ज़रूरी है and communicate करना बहुत ज़रूरी है और बड़े हॉस्पिटल से like I get a lot of complaints कि there are 2 complaints. They're overbilling. They didn't tell me इतने पैसे लगेंगे कि बाल इतना बिल बनाती है. But secondly जी कुछ बताते ही नहीं. फोन आते रोज की बताते नहीं मेरा बच्चा सीरियस है, मेरा पेशेंट सीरियस है. तो मुझे लगता है कि one idea would be like when this is a modern era of audio visual thing, why to talk in gallery? Why to counsel in gallery? Sit in the room, talk to them, and there should be video. Everything what you talk is video recorded. Once the patient come to know whatever you are talking is being recorded, so at least they know what did you talk. I think video recording is very important. At times written recording doesn't make any sense. जैसे कि मैं तो घबरा गया था, मुझे समझ नहीं आया, मुझसे साइन करवा लिया, मैं क्या करता? Don't talk in a hurry. Don't talk in gallery. Sit in a room, sit in an OPD chamber, and let them know that everything is video recorded. Counsel like this, and be honest to your profession. I don't think it's difficult to do.
Consent is that at IMA we are working on the consent, and people feel consent should be the 1 page, half page. I personally feel consent should be 10 pages, 11 pages, 12 pages. When I take a loan of 1,000, I sign up 20 pages. Your consent should be in great detail. When financial institution takes so much precautions, I can't be.
The same thing again, because I have heard so many cases where everything is written, everything is being signed, and the court they say, because मैं तो घबरा गया था, मुझे समझ नहीं आया, मैं जल्दी में था.
10 पेज तो साइन नहीं करेगा.
10 पेज
जल्दी में साइन नहीं करेगा ना.
10 पेज को पढ़ेगा नहीं.
when you go for an insurance or company or so, Medicolegal or so, there is a list of, and you don't read. In the same way, if the consent is of 10 pages and written in a which the patient cannot understand, because it should be informed consent. Patient has to be told about it, what are the options available to him, what are the complications, what are the risks associated with this. Then of course it should be explained, as Dr. Anbuda told, that it should be the video.
मैं कह रहा हूँ सर हाफ पेज का बनाइए, 5 लाइन का बनाइए, उसका एक्सप्लेन करो, 5 लाइन उससे लिखवा लीजिए, उससे कुछ हिंदी में लिख दो कि ये आप डिक्टेट करो, उसको बता दो ये चीज बता दो, साइन करवा दो, उससे then he cannot deny कि I couldn't understand.
Because if
4 लाइन का बनाओ.
if you write in the consent कि these are the complications A to and ultimately death, that doesn't
वो बोलेंगे नहीं, वो बोलेंगे डरा दिया मुझे. डॉक्टर के पास गए तो मैं ये
one is video record, second is consent in patient's language.
Third thing is I want to tell our doctors regarding the MLC cases, because we are, whenever there is a suspicion of, because ultimately the MLC is the role of the doctor. No police person, no court can force you to make MLC. But it is your conscience if there is some, say, motor vehicle accident is there, burn injury is there, criminal assault is there, or criminal abortion is there, sexual assault is there, or attempted suicide is there. Whenever you feel that something is there which needs a investigation by the police authority or the court matter, you should at least inform the police first of all. Then one thing is that when MLC is there in a hospital or a nursing home, if a death occurs, you should inform the police immediately, because we at the Medicolegal Council have few cases in which the death occurs and the body has been delivered to the relatives. Postmortem was not done, and then the case, of course, police register a case against the doctor because the evidence is lost. Once the postmortem is not done, evidence is lost, the case is registered. So, person should not hand over the body to the relatives in a death case. In a admitted case, when the patient is admitted or suppose patient abscond or death occurs, you should inform the police at the same time, at the earliest. Or one more thing, that don't think that the MLC should be made at the instant. You can register a case as MLC. Maybe after a few days, when you come to know that something has
Something
fishy is there anytime.
MLC can be made anytime.
So Arun, I have a specific small question. That is, 14-year-old girl comes to you and she's taken 6 tablets of Alpha, and you know nothing is going to happen. But it was a fight between 2 sisters, and she took Alpha. And the relation come back and say, please don't make MLC. When you say that nothing is going to happen, what do we do? We are always in a fix. This situation comes every day. If we make it, we are in social health versus legal health.
This is a really tricky one. So many problems like this, they come to your
every day.
Med certificates and this and that. I really don't think I would be able to specifically answer the question. I think ideally, suppose let me come to that. Ideally, I should make it.
Inform the police.
Don't
make an MLC. Inform the police.
Absolutely, because you never know what comes later. You never know what comes, and who knows, like what happens. Like professionally as well, individually, to save first myself.
Okay, I'll go with another situation.
No. In this particular case, if the girl has taken the drugs for committing suicide, attempting to suicide is a criminal act. IPC section is there. You can't just forgo that case.
And that patient is to admitted also.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about 2 tablets, 3 tablets, 4 tablets. Which you know medically that nothing is going to happen. You're not put admitting. You're not. If it is admitted, it is an MLC. I'm talking about non-admitted case.
Suppose somebody says he is taking for the intent of suicide, then how do you know it's 2 or 3 or 4?
I'm going something different. Not a patient says, he has come to the OPD. You say, I'm going to inform the police. You say, Doctor, I'm taking my patient back. I don't want to see you. I don't want any consultation. And if he leaves, then are you supposed to inform the police? I'm putting tricky situation because this is what I have seen in the last 30 years. And I have faced it on many occasions.
Well, unfortunately,
if you're going to call the police, then I'm changing my doctor. I'll go to somewhere else. Kindly disconnect me. I don't want to.
This is actually this is really tricky because last 25 years my practice I have never faced this situation. Unfortunately, I would say that. But
Okay, you have to inform the police. Suppose
Inform the police.
inform the
As far as the
police.
council is
I
concerned,
know,
Inform the police.
ideally and technically and legally you have to inform them.
Inform
So
the
you
police.
don't have to be scientifically correct,
No.
you have to be ethically correct, morally correct, and now legally correct also.
Legally correct.
So therefore it is your duty.
Because
to inform.
suppose I have taken say few tablets of drugs, but I am in the state of mind I am trying to get suicide.
Half an hour before you take more.
Maybe after say
You
few days
have
or
to
so,
inform. You have to inform.
I will take a poison, say
Because
red
in the
red
past
poison.
we had,
I might expert. So it is to better to inform police. So if has a suicidal tendency or so, that can be prevented.
we had few cases like in the past
Yeah,
also
second
where
one.
doctor was caught because he didn't
Yeah,
fail to inform the police also.
My last question, and then Monga to summarize. My last question is if a ultrasonologist or a radiologist, a person comes and he says, I need a sexual termination, where do we complain as a doctor?
No, like if patient comes to me,
Patient comes to you that I want a sexual termination. He's asking for a sexual termination. As on today, we are supposed to say no.
yes,
But why shouldn't we file a complaint? Because there's a case has happened in Hisar.
yes,
One doctor
two
has
days
filed
back.
couple of days back.
I think-
And
I think-
there is a protection to doctors that if we want to become a whistleblower and complain about the parents, can we come to a council? Do we have to go to the PCP Entity Act? Where do we go?
I think he should inform the police at the because the police is a
Earliest.
police can reach the site of occurrence in a minute or so because they have infrastructure, they have a communication system like that. And if we try to go to the say PCP Entity Act, state act, then might be the authorities will be in the police can register the case there and then.
Because I have no idea if we have some authorized authority kind of thing which takes this complaint in Delhi. In absence of this clear-cut guidelines, and the police will
PCP Entity says mother is immune.
that is the problem now. That is the problem.
They provide immunity to the mother.
Have you really marked some person or some authority to look into this complaint? I don't think so. Then the police is the only thing. Yes.
So Monga, you last yours.
The last part, in fact, I remember when DMC was being started, everybody talked about it in DMA after the draft had come. And we went to the health minister that time. We said it is for the eradication of quackery also,
Sure.
because by this way we will be able to know who is a quack, who is not a quack by doing it all in DMC. But I think over the years we have lost that direction also. Maybe DMC per se is doing something, but it is not really that much.
A couple of questions have come. He says, Dr. Kanodia, Kamlesh Kanodia, is not provision regarding necessity of registering with DMC for a doctor whose name is Indian Medical Register and did against NCI Act. He's talking about why do I need to get registered? This is always a diploma. It is always a if you read
As per Delhi Constitution.
no, if you read Indian Medical Council Act, both if you see the section 27 and 15, in one it talks about privileges and talks about what are your what you can do once you are registered in Indian Medical Register. They only write about it that you can practice anywhere in the state. It doesn't talk about it without registration. So if the state laws allows you a registration, so there is a catch point there. Indian Medical Register doesn't talk about like a license that this license is applicable anywhere in the country. You can so therefore Indian Medical Register Council Act 15 and 27 only talks about that you can practice anywhere in the country. That means provided you follow the local laws.
So provided you have to be registered with on the
Local
state
laws.
medical
Yes,
council,
local laws.
your name should be on the state medical
That's
register,
also-
and state medical register is maintained by the state medical council.
That is also the constitutional body.
He is Dr. Srinivas Aditya Nursing Home, HOMW, I don't know from where he's talking about. I have given treatment to some emergency cases, but patient did not pay. So I raise hospital bill, to whom I send the bill for payment. I am at AP, Andhra Pradesh, Karnool district, Adoni. Kindly give, he says, if a patient is not paying me, he has gone back, I have a bill with me, whom do I send? Answer, send it to the patient. No, first of all send it to the patient.
Send it to the patient with the legal notice, and if it
Yeah,
not
no,
notice,
then
and if it doesn't respond, of course the
Civil court.
health is the state subject. If nobody is paying, state has to pay.
He says, I don't want to see emergency cases after 12 night for various reasons, my personal reasons. Can I put it on the board settings? So my answer is yes.
Yes.
You have to choose to timings you can choose.
Suppose you have a nursing
Doctor has a right to choose patient first of
Unless
all,
it is an
unless it is an emergency.
Yes.
It is written about emergency only.
Time.
But if he's not available, then of course nobody can force him to.
So if I say, for example, in my house, Dr. K.K. Agarwal is not written.
Yes. Absolutely. If you have a nursing home and you written that you
Then you
take
can't
the
refuse.
capacity, obviously then you have to. Otherwise, I am sitting here. If somebody comes,
But even if you write down, you won't get immunity if somebody has a cardiac arrest and you say I won't examine. You have to.
absolutely.
Once you are sitting in OPD, then of course you have a right to choose the patient, but you cannot refuse the
Emergency.
that is.
Within your capability, within the facility available, you have to provide some medical care.
So it's 4:01 and that brings us the end of the session. That's all for today. Let's thank Arun to be here with us and Girish, and of course Dr. Moga to be with us. We'll come back next week with one more topic and Happy Doctor's Day, which is falling tomorrow. Thank you very much. We'll come back next week. Till that, goodbye.